No one likes to write a check to the IRS, but this is the time of year when many of us have done that. So is there a way to reduce or even eliminate that amount in retirement? Joining us now to discuss this is Taylor and Laurel Stewart, part of the family at Mattson Financial Services, the sponsor of this segment. They're a firm that's been helping people retire successfully here in West Michigan for decades. You can also catch them on their popular radio show, Money Mentors. And so what about that tax bill in retirement? Of course, that's been top of mind for a lot of people because it's spring. Can we do anything about that?
Yeah, we absolutely can. And that's one of the funny things when we sit down and meet with people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that all of this money was going to be, taxable. And I said, well, it is, but the good news is we can control it, right? There are steps and changes that we can make now to help control the rest of that tax bill in retirement. Now, it's not something that happens overnight. It's going to take some years and some planning to do so, but that's why it's important to sit down with a fiduciary financial advisor, start talking about these things, working with the CPA, and start doing some tax planning, not just about what are my tax liabilities today, like you said, writing that check to the IRS, but what are they going to look like in the next 15, 20 years moving on, and how do we control that with things like the Roth IRA, this tax-free money, and some other tax qualifications along the way.
Nice. I know there are different buckets just from our talks before, taxable, tax-free, tax-deferred.
Yeah,
but
look
that
at you go. Hey.
tax-free, that gets our attention these days. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that's that Roth piece, either the Roth IRA or Roth 401k. So if you're lucky enough to have a Roth 401k available, option available to you, which most do now, now might be a good time to start looking at funding that while you're still working. And if you don't have that option available to you, that's okay. You can still open up your Roth IRA on your own. Now, there are some stipulations. You can make too much money, according to the IRS, and not contribute to it. If you don't have earned income, you also can't contribute to it. So there are some tricky pieces there, and that's why it's important to sit down with somebody and discuss that. But starting to fund that piece or doing conversions and getting some of that money out of that tax-deferred bucket to that tax-free bucket.
Yeah. Can anybody have a Roth?
Yes, so what you can do, and we're talking about this too, a lot of stipulations in there, but you have your pre-tax dollars, right? You're going to pay the taxes on it once, then it can, you can convert it to a Roth IRA. So if some of those areas where, you can't contribute to one anymore, that's okay, you can still convert. So there's some ways around it, you can do some spousal contributions too, if your spouse isn't working but you are and you're making enough money. So there are lots of different ways and a lot of careful planning to be done there.
And one other important thing to kind of discuss on that is, let's say that you're working and you're maxing out your 401k, right? So you're putting that $20,500 in, plus your catch-up if you're over 50, and you say, well, let's jump on that Roth 401k, and then you start contributing all of that money to the Roth 401k, which sounds great, and it is, but you're also now paying taxes on that, right? So that's an additional $20,000+ of taxable income that maybe will bump you up to the next tax bracket. So that's why we say it's always really important to just have that plan put in place, working with a fiduciary advisor and a CPA to make sure that all of your I's are dotted and T's crossed, because we're going to get that tax-free growth, but we don't want to be surprised with an additional tax bill at the end of the year because we didn't realize that, right? So changing some withholdings up.
So when someone gets to retirement and they're ready to draw on the savings, how does the Roth help build a plan that saves on taxes?
Yeah, so once it becomes that tax-free money, and it's going to grow, there are some stipulations for when you can touch it. But what that does is it allows you to, if there's something big coming up, whether that's maybe a roof that you're going to replace.
Or a new boat.
Yeah, there you go. And so maybe you're really close to another tax bracket. Well, now if we take from your Roth bucket, that's now tax-free. So it doesn't count as going up in a new tax bracket, where if we did take from your IRA, that's taxable dollars, and that could bump you up. So we look at all those different pieces with your plan and where you're sitting at when it comes to your, your tax piece before we would make that recommendation.
Sure. Yeah. And so now that we're talking about taxes, and I'm sure you got the attention of a lot of people with a wish list too, how do you go about setting this up so you could take advantage of some of those benefits?
So it really starts with the overall plan. We need to start at ground zero and work our way up. We need to figure out exactly where everything's at, whether it's investments and real estate and income sources and taxability of those income sources. Do you have a pension? Obviously, Social Security, what's that benefit going to be? Is your spouse taking it already? Are you retiring before age. I mean, there's a lot of different things
There
that
sure
go
is.
into it, and that's our job, is to sit
Yeah.
down and gather all of that information and come up with that plan. And once we put all of that together, we can now start making some recommendations and looking at some strategies to help save on those tax dollars down the road.
Sure, and you have an offer for our viewers to take advantage of.
We do. If you're one of the first 5 callers and you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, you're entering that retirement phase, or perhaps you're already in retirement, we'll actually send you a checklist. You ask, what things do we need,
All the
and
things
as
I just
Taylor's
went
talking
rambling
Yeah.
on.
about.
Yeah.
And it's different for
Yeah.
everybody.
It is,
Yeah.
it is. And so we'll send that checklist to you so you can be organized when you come in. A lot of people think, well, I might, I'm reluctant, right, to share this information because maybe I don't feel organized. So
Yeah.
we're going to help you get there.
Yeah, well, nice. If you want to start the conversation about Roths and your tax strategy for retirement, take advantage of that special offer from Mattson Financial. Taylor, Laurel, and the team at Mattson Financial will sit down with you, do a complete evaluation of your financial outlook, and develop a comprehensive retirement plan to get you where you deserve to be, living your dream retirement. So don't let this offer pass. It's available complimentary to the first 5 callers today. So secure that spot and call 616-514-3831. That number again is 616-514-3831. So great to have you here. Both of you are talking about some good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And this segment is sponsored by Mattson Financial Services. We'll be right back with more 8 West.